Welcome to Bad First Impression, a podcast about movies and where we meet them. Normally, every week, me and a guest sit down to discuss a repertory film screening we saw and how it affects our impression of the film. But today we're doing something a little different. Are a little different. It's a complete format change. It's completely different. I don't know why I said a little different. I think that's just what people say. We don't have enough time to be doing this. We're doing our own award show to recognize our favorite movies of 2023 before the Oscars have the final say on the award season. This is the only award show called the BFI Awards.
Exactly. I do wish we had party hats.
I know it is confusing because there are other organizations that use the initials BFI. The important distinction to remember is that their awards bodies do not call themselves the BFI Awards. Therefore, it's not confusing for us to call ourselves that. And we're not riding anybody else's coattails. That's just what it makes the most sense to call.
We're not hoping that people will Google what won at the British Film Institute and find this podcast.
I think it's totally fine what we're doing. And I don't think that I don't think this will cause any sort of confusion whatsoever. What will cause confusion is the rules that I'm about to explain.
Yay.
Because what we're doing here is a little bit of, it's more of a game necessarily as anything else. In the spirit of the sometimes arbitrary nature of what gets nominated for and wins Oscars, I figured I would come up with rules for a little drafting game that are not strictly, you'll make sense of them once I say them out loud. So
we're in the game.
So yes. So we have pared down nominations for 8 simplified categories.
Using your submissions. Interactive game.
To represent the major categories. So we'll be doing them in this order. We're doing best music, which encompasses kind of the spirit of both best score and best song. We are doing a combined best screenplay category. Then we will do supporting actress and actor, lead actress and actor, director, and then picture. So those are our 8 categories that we're going to be going over today. Here is what's going to happen each round. We're going to do this in 3 phases, basically. We are going to first list your picks for the nominees for each category. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to unanimously, me and Lily, regardless of how we feel about them,
Lily's me,
have to agree upon and remove one of those nominees and then agree upon a replacement nominee.
Yep.
Then alternating turns on categories, with Lily going first the first round. One of us will have to pick one of 2 actions every round. You either have to do a replacement or a swap. Now, a replacement is taking out a nominee and replacing it with a nomination in that category for any eligible film released in 2023.
Eligible for our awards.
Eligible for our awards. And we're going to get into eligibility a little bit as we move on because obviously, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We're incredibly well established and above board. So
everybody knows. Yeah.
It's not like we're some sort of illegitimate awards body or anything. And then I'm sorry, I just laid out replacement.
Yes, now do. You just did replacement. You have to do swap now.
I have to explain what a swap is.
Yes.
A swap is when you have to take out one of the current nominees and replace it with a nominee in the corresponding category at this year's Oscars. So for music, you can do anything from either score or you're nominating the movie to simplify it. So any movies that are nominated in either of those categories. And screenplay, obviously you can do both. Yeah. And then we will just alternate on that. We will settle on a list of nominees for each of them. At the end of each round, I forgot to say, you and I will basically say, we'll pick personal winners. You know, they're not,
of course.
They don't,
it doesn't mean anything.
I will list who the first person I list when I list the nominees received the most votes.
I assume you're going down.
Every category. So whoever I list first as I go down each category is the one that you voted for, and I guess is the definitive winner.
Yeah.
Okay. So I figured we would start with music.
Okay. Music, the film by Sia.
Yes.
We're just going to play that whole thing
That's
right
actually
now.
what we're going to do. We're going to stop what we're doing right now. We're going to go watch the incredibly cursed, probably like impossible to, I can't imagine anybody is hosting that anywhere. That has to be illegal to watch.
I hope so. Okay, continue.
We are going to do your nominees.
I'm sweating.
Best music.
I'm sweating. I'm so nervous.
I should actually list them from
least to most.
These are ranked by
least
votes.
to most.
I'll do least to most. Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I want it to be higher.
Poor Things, American Fiction, Barbie, and Oppenheimer.
Nice.
Now, you and I have to...
do we have to start this off super controversially already?
I don't think that this one is as controversial, right?
Are you sure?
Because you and I think that here's the thing.
You know what I want to get rid of here.
I agree with you that I want... And I think that we should do it in this category.
Rather than the others. Okay.
Because I like the movie more in other categories.
Yes, me too.
So I think since it's very obvious to us, we are both going to unanimously remove Barbie.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's what we're removing.
Okay.
Because everything else I think is good.
Here's the thing. I don't mind the music in Barbie. I actually quite like I'm Just
I
Ken.
like some of it. I don't like all of it. I really like the Lizzo song. It's really too bad that movie came out right at Lizzo's cancellation.
Right? Like immediately following up on the...
Yeah, because I think that is so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think that because of her cancellation, we don't get to talk about how much fun that song is. Like that just completely got left out.
Look, not saying I don't also sometimes like sad girl music. I'm so sick of that Billie Eilish
I know.
song.
It's just been everywhere.
And
then also it has topped so many critics' best of lists too. I'm sick of seeing how much people like it.
That's a very straightforward way to put it. I'm fine being an outlier.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that song.
Yeah. And we're obviously going to replace it with The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot by Diane Warren. I'm kidding. We're continuing.
Okay. One of us might have to.
Oh, I did forget to put something on my nomination list, but do you know what my suggestion is going to be?
For this round?
Yeah. And would you agree with me on it?
We actually have to agree with something. You can suggest something.
But so do you agree with me, Sweet East?
Yeah, I think just based off the strength of kind of like that opening
one
number.
song, I maintain that should have been nominated.
The Sweet East, which actually will come up a couple times throughout the rest of this
solid
episode.
Movie. It's not like the best movie ever made, but it's got some solid stuff going on.
It's an interesting movie with is it Talia? What is her name?
Talia Ryder.
Talia Ryder. Thank you. It's got Simon Rex in a really great supporting performance.
Jacob Elordi in his best supporting performance of the year.
I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable going ahead and putting that in as 5. Okay.
I thought maybe you would agree with me on that.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit my mic with my shoulder. I'm just kidding. 1 second here.
Can you put the thing between us so I can see what the nominees are? Because I don't remember them anymore. Yeah.
My laptop?
No, the thing with
the
ours.
sheet?
The sheet with ours on it.
1 second here.
Okay.
So while I'm doing this, do you want to run down
everyone who got one? So
I thought this would also be a fun exercise. In our votes, I took note of every movie in each category that received only one nomination from the voting body in that category. If you want to go ahead and
Okay, so I'm confirming for myself, I did put Sweet East in there.
Yeah.
So Sweet East, Mission Impossible. Is that you, perchance? Am I allowed to?
I honestly don't remember. I feel like I quite like that score. I don't think that's me.
I'm surprised to see Iron Claw because I thought we were both going to put that on there. I believe I did.
I think I did and you didn't.
Then I forgot.
Because I remember specifically nominating the soundtrack.
I thought I remembered putting it on there. So that's me. Oops. Oopsies. May December does have some fun musical moments.
Mm-hmm.
Past Lives, Color Purple. That's silly of us.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I don't think either of us has seen that.
That's true. And I guess most of our friends probably haven't either.
Yeah.
Theater Camp, Asteroid City, Anatomy of a Fall, Spider-Man, Creed 3, Evil Does Not Exist. That's one of mine. Because we are the only two people who saw that movie.
Evil Does Not Exist. I want to touch on it because it will come up in the one-time nominations here. I think probably mostly because of you. The wonderful, wonderful follow-up from the Best Picture nomination by Ryusuke Hamaguchi, Evil Does Not Exist. It came out of the New York Film Festival. It probably would have made my top 10. I just left it off these nominations on the simple basis that most people have not had the opportunity to see it.
So the reason I put it on was because, and truly, I believe this is only one or two people, but I saw a couple people who don't live in New York on Letterboxd who saw it later in the year last year. Really? So I know it was released somewhere.
It must have found its way to somebody. It's a great film. It comes out, I believe, in New York, at least in May.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be an opportunity for more people to see it. But yeah, music is a really integral part of how that
So it felt important to me to put that on there. Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Godzilla. The reptile movies at the end.
Yes. The repurposing of the original Godzilla theme in that movie is really fantastic. Good. It's a little disappointing to see it on the one-time nominee list.
So that's you, basically.
I don't think I forgot to put it there, but I really like that movie a lot. So
it's fun remembering what I did yesterday.
Here's the thing, since you're the guest,
a long time ago.
Do you want to, because we're just going to alternate, do you want to on this first round go first or on the second round go first? Like
it's a lot of pressure.
Like, do you want to do it on the odds or the evens?
Basically? You go and then I'll go.
You want me to go? Okay.
Oh, wait, you know what? I don't want to go last. Okay. I don't want to do it for the best picture one.
So you want to go first. So you have to pick between either.
Wait, I don't know. This is hard.
Well, you'll have to pick between either a swap or a replace.
I don't know why I'm really scared of being the last word on here.
Well, I have to outro the show, so it's not like, I mean, you'll be fine. So.
Okay. So you go first.
You want me to go first?
You go first.
Perfect.
You go first.
All right. So
I'm sweating.
I am going to.
You look over at me and I'm just in a puddle.
I have to pick. Can you
please put the sheet between
Yes,
us?
of course.
I appreciate you. So we replaced Barbie with Sweet East.
We replaced Barbie with Sweet East. My options, I'm going to do a swap here instead of a replace. So my options here are The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible, Zone of Interest.
Where's The Creator?
The Creator is under Best Sound.
Oh, we're doing sound and score and song. I thought we were doing score and song.
Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, and that's it for my options for a swap. So I will say, honestly, this is a pretty easy one for me. I would put Zone of Interest in there, and sorry to be rude, I'm to take it away. I'm going to replace the Hunger Games with the Zone of Interest, I think. Mostly just because I don't have a ton of fondness for that. Do you want to speak on the Hunger Games sound and score? Because you were telling me a little bit about this earlier.
Yeah, the soundtrack is very good to the Hunger Games. It's very...
No, but like the origin of where some of that music is from.
Oh, yes. The I believe the songs that Rachel Zegler sings, at least one of them, maybe two of them, are written by Suzanne Collins because they're in the book. And I just think it would be funny if Suzanne Collins had an Oscar nomination. I also do think that they're like solid. I think that they're good, and I think that Rachel Zegler is a very good singer.
Okay. Now it's your turn. Do you want to do a swap or a replace?
This is hard. But because I have to, I think I would rather do a swap here because it feels a little easier in this one than in some of the others. Mm-hmm. And because I'd have to get rid of something I like anyway. Can I get rid of the one that you put in?
You absolutely can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we're basically just going to do the same thing. So I'm going to swap Zone of Interest. I'm going to swap it for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's completely fine.
Are you mad at me?
No, not
I'm
at
just
all.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
Do you want to speak on the music in that movie at all?
I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's both nominated for score and song. I remember it like adding to the atmosphere of the movie, it adding to the visuals in a way that was nice. I feel like that all sounded horrible coming out of my mouth just now. But I did really like it. Like I'm not like settling.
I'll tell you this. Music is not the first thing I think of when I think of that movie.
No, it's not.
But it certainly has a.
I don't want to waste a replace for the Hunger Games.
It has a kind of continuous atmosphere, and it's very like mournful.
Yes, no, exactly, applied. And that's why I think that it's worth and deserves its nomination here.
I think that is a worthwhile replacement.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of American Fiction because I love that soundtrack. That score so much.
See, here's the reason,
and I really love the Poor Things score
because I didn't really get to speak on Zone of Interest, so I do just want to like
speak on it.
Give it a moment. Speak on it.
Speak on it, King.
So Zone of Interest is kind of.
I'm gonna sit my Jewish ass down and listen.
This is sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just kidding.
No, I think this is really, because this is music. It's so much more all encompassing. I'm really cheating here a little bit. It's more of like a best sound nomination. Design, because the way that just everything is happening in the background.
The silence is very well done.
Yes. I think if we're looking at this strictly as music and not sound overall, then I certainly understand putting Killers of the Flower Moon over it. Mm-hmm. That being said, our 5 nominees are Oppenheimer, The Sweet East, American Fiction, Poor Things, Killers of the Flower Moon. The fan submission winner is Oppenheimer by a lot, as is the case in
I'm assuming Oppenheimer's gonna sweep here.
Oppenheimer is gonna do very
I also
well.
think it's gonna sweep at the real Oscars, but like for the record.
Justifiably so.
I think so. I think it's a really good movie too. And actually I think it's really cool to see a movie sweep that came out before November.
Well, here's the thing. We're gonna have a lot of opportunity to talk about Oppenheimer. We should maybe not give it all the space here. But so the fan submission winner is Oppenheimer here. What is your personal winner?
I don't know. Maybe American Fiction, because I really like that jazzy soundtrack. I really like it. I think it works really well.
I almost knocked it out instead of instead of Hunger Games.
I would have just brought it back.
Just because you would have brought American Fiction back instead?
Yeah, I think because it's in here. So I would have been able to replace.
I mean, and I think that was kind of seen as a bit of a surprise nomination that it got that at the Oscars. Really? Because it's a really nice, pleasant, but it's a little slight, especially the way that the Oscars usually chooses a best.
That's fair. I honestly, because I remember really enjoying it while I was in the movie, and now that I've read the book, I think it's a great way to adapt the book. Yeah. Like it's a great addition to the story.
I liked it a lot. I guess I'm not super passionate about it.
That's fair.
That's fine. That was the only reason it would have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I am for some
kind
reason.
of second choice removal. But that's.
Yes, I think the Hunger Games should have won Best Song.
Your personal winner was American Fiction, you
for
said?
Score, and for song, either the Olivia Rodrigo song or the Rachel Zegler song.
I would probably,
The Sweet East.
I would probably give it to Oppenheimer. I know
it's good sound and it's gonna win.
It's the boring choice to be like Oppenheimer is my best movie of the year, but I think it is so undeniable.
It is.
And
the sound is really good.
You're not even you usually don't have a ton of patience for what Nolan is up to.
No, I don't. And I really like that movie.
You walked out of that mostly I'm really surprised that I loved that. I think you were expecting to be like, it's good. I liked it. Yeah. And you walked out being like, that was really great.
I was expecting to be bored at some point in the middle, and I never was.
And I think the music is a big part of keeping that flow going.
Yeah.
That being said,
there's a lot of boys in that movie.
So now that we have kind of established the pattern of how each of these rounds is going to go,
I think this will be easier.
I think we can move on to, let me just find my sheet for screenplay, which is obviously right here.
Obviously. Russell's through 6 more papers.
Yes. So screenplay is the one kind of outlier in terms of how it's laid out here. I gave everybody the option to submit 10 because I wanted a few more kind of options for outliers because we're combining 2 pretty major categories into one. But I only took 5 nominations, I think, just to keep this from getting too out of control here. Going in ascending order here, the fan submission selections are number 5, Poor Things. Number 4, Anatomy of a Fall. Number 3, Oppenheimer. 2, The Holdovers. And number 1, May December.
Nice.
Kind of really crushing it in here. Do you want me to go over the one nominees here? The one nominee recipients, I guess.
Sure. And then that might give us ideas.
Okay. So here, these are all the things that in our voting received exactly 1 nomination. The Killer. Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Love that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Someone loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got one 7-year-old submission in here.
This next one, I know who you are who submitted this. You're going to jail for nominating Elemental. Rotting in the Sun, the kind of indie movie. I think it was directed by a first-time director who had been a cinematographer before Rotting in the Sun.
Sorry, Elemental has one of the worst screenplays I've ever heard.
Elemental is
that's like maybe the worst thing about that movie is the story itself.
I'm not kidding. I think I have like 2 films below Elemental on my 2023
I have 2
list.
as well, and one of them's one that's not a real movie.
One of them is My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which is quite simply one of the most incompetently put together movies I have ever seen make it to a wide release. Like I just more mean like there are editing errors.
Yeah.
Like it's badly made.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is, I don't actually want to give it attention by saying its name here.
I don't either.
But let's just say that
a really bad documentary we watched.
Let's just say we sat down into this movie thinking it was going to be a real movie, and about 15 minutes in realized that it was propaganda.
Yes.
So I don't want to give it any exposure, although I don't think anybody has bought it for distribution, thankfully. The Promised Land, How to Have Sex, which I don't 100% know if that got a real 2023 release, but either way, The Taste of Things, the wonderful like cooking movie.
I wonder who submitted that one.
I didn't submit Taste of Things, but it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Taste of Things, it's Juliette Binoche and I can't remember her screen partner's name, something Maggie Mel, who they play kind of people who they express their passion through cooking with one another, and they have this kind of unrequited love. In real life, they are ex-spouses.
How cute.
It's a really wonderful movie. It is probably the best I have ever seen food look on screen. I feel really comfortable saying the single best I've ever seen on screen. It might come up a little bit here and there for the rest of this, but it's very, very good. Dream Scenario, that's 2/3 of a pretty solid script. I don't know about best script. Beau is Afraid, movie that was completely shut out by the Oscars. Amanda, I wonder who submitted that.
Oh, I wonder who submitted that.
Do you want to talk about Amanda a little bit? I don't think we'll have.
I love Amanda. We will, because I also submitted it for a couple other things.
Okay, cool.
I mean, the person who submitted it here.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. It's an Italian film. We saw it, I think, early on in the year last year-ish, maybe like mid. I would say it's like an absurdist comedy, but it's not crazy absurd the way something like Beau is Afraid is. Like, it's not that kind of, it's just kind of quietly absurd. And I'm constantly thinking about, there's two separate scenes where she's trying to avoid her mom, but she needs to get past this door, and she thinks she will be quiet and unseen if she jumps past the door. And they show it twice, and it's hilarious and loud both times. And she wears the same outfit every day.
Yeah, I know you really seemed to.
I really connected with that movie, and I get why someone.
You're wearing a very Amanda-esque.
Yeah, she's very me. Yes. I really, really like her. She's insane.
Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse received a nomination. I was actually expecting that to get more attention.
Yeah, me too.
The Kane Mutiny Court Martial. I don't know if you remember this movie. No. It was released direct to Paramount. It is legendary director William Friedkin's last movie. He died before it was released, like between it being finished and before it was released. I've actually heard very good things, but they're like, it's a TV movie. But, you know, he was pretty old. He was pretty old, you know. Fun fact about that is that when directors are that old, oftentimes insurance companies will require that there be another director like on set, you know, as like a backup. And on the set of that movie was Guillermo del Toro, who basically just wanted to hang out with William Friedkin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a fun thing about that movie. Landscape with Invisible Hand. I think the one thing in all these nominees I don't think I've even heard of. Actually, that's wrong. The next one is called What Happens Later, another movie I don't know. Michael Mann's Ferrari, a movie that was completely shut out of the Oscars. That we will actually have a little bit of opportunity to talk about later.
I assume so.
No spoilers. And The Sweetest got one. Was that you as well?
Oh, probably. I was actually weirdly, I was like struggling to fill my screenplay. And I think that was my last one where I was like, because the story's so fun for so much of it, I'll put this in screenplay.
I think the issue with that, with the combined categories, the way that we're doing, when you can't mentally slot things into this is adapted, this is original, it muddles them a little. Instead of clarifying it,
I agree.
But like I actually kind of like just thinking of them in terms of like, what was my favorite screenplay, regardless of source material.
Yes. Okay, so we should continue.
We should continue.
Put the thing in between us so I can see it.
Which of these 5 things should we remove? This is going to be a hard category. Again, the nominees are May, December, Holdovers, Oppenheimer, Anatomy of a Fall, and Poor Things. We have to pick one of these to remove. My suggestion would be Poor Things. I think because honestly, these are all pretty strong screenplays.
I think so too.
And Poor Things sags in the middle a lot.
I agree, but can I also say, because we've had this conversation before as well, that obviously Holdovers is a very good movie. The thing, obviously, and the writing is good, but it's something where if the actors were not good, the writing would be bad. You know what I mean? I
mean, Poor Things, I would argue, has the same issue, except for in some spots, the dialogue is so bad that good actors can't overcome that. I like that movie, not as much as others, but I like that movie a lot. There are spots where it just straight up doesn't work for me.
Sure. I just think because the jokes that are original are so original and work so well for me.
In Poor Things?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Poor Things, I was laughing a lot. We saw that with a great crowd. It was a lot of fun. Do you feel strongly that you want to argue for Holdovers over Poor Things as our unanimous removal decision here?
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because you're going to remove Poor Things.
Well, I guess I just mean, I'm like, well, because I'm going second actually. So I guess I would have ultimately the chance to bat it out.
Yeah.
So, do you want to acquiesce and we can call this unanimous?
We can we can call it unanimous. Cool. We'll get rid of Poor Things.
We're going to remove Poor Things and replace it with what? What is your next pick?
I don't know. I mean, it was probably Amanda. I don't even remember what I put here because I was actually weirdly strict with this one. I was weirdly like I didn't put Holdovers for the reason I said. I didn't put American Fiction because even though I think it's mostly very funny, I don't like the ending. I was like very strict here.
I would say that I would say that American Fiction, if it were not for the last
like 5 to 10 minutes,
really the whole last act, but the last 5 to 10 minutes, which are like,
I would so happily put it in my screenplay.
The thing is it would like maybe be my winner.
Yeah,
like my personal winner.
It's a really good adaptation.
But I don't know. I am trying to think.
And the Oscars list is not helping me at all.
Yeah, let's take a look over, see what's happening with the Oscars.
It is super not helpful. I can tell you that much.
The nominees that we have not
Zone of Interest
that are not represented here are Maestro.
Nope.
Past Lives, Barbie, and Zone of Interest. None of those are jumping out to me.
Not to me either.
Let's see. Do you want to look at the rest of the list? Do you want to throw?
I'm trying to think of something that we both like. Like, is it silly if I say we both really like Dungeons and Dragons that has fun jokes? What if we put that in there?
I mean, I love Dungeons and Dragons.
I figured you would.
I think that is a fantastically structured.
And I think it's a good script.
Do you want to put Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves on here? Okay,
I do.
Perfect. All right, perfect.
And then, so is it my turn to go first or your turn to go first?
You wanted me to go first the last round, right?
Yes, so I'm going first.
So you can go first.
Yeah.
So do you want to do a swap or a replace?
I mean, I know that what I do is just going to get redone again. But again, I would rather be using my replaces here where I agree with some of them. Whereas I think with the actors, I'm a little more scared to look at the Oscars list.
Yeah, based on what your operating pool is.
Yeah, so I think I would rather swap. And I guess what I will do is just swap back out Holdovers and put Poor Things back in.
Okay. Let's go ahead and throw Poor Things in there again momentarily. I now have to pick what I want to replace it with. That is difficult. I don't know. I'll tell you this. I'm going to do this as like a peace offering a little bit. I'll throw Amanda in, but I'll replace Poor Things. Like I'll use a replace. Is that okay?
You agree the Amanda script is great.
The Amanda script is very, very good. I really like that.
I know
movie.
It's in Italian, but I think it's good. I don't speak Italian, so I can't tell you if the translation is any good.
But. I mean, it's a movie where theoretically not a whole ton happens.
No, but it's still engaging the whole time.
A lot of what quote unquote happens is imagined, and I don't mean in the "it was all a dream" way. I mean it was like in the Delulu way that like
yeah,
a lot of
like she's narrating and you're like, I don't think that happened.
And I think that it's really smart the way that the story will guide itself based on how she is seeing things, but make it clear to you, the viewer,
Yes.
that those are not actually the case. In
Yes.
some cases, she is legitimately deluding herself. And in some cases, she actually knows the reality, but so doesn't want that to be the case that she's ignoring it.
Yeah.
So you have used 2 swaps.
And you've used a swap and a replace.
I've used a swap and a replace.
Okay, what's next? Supporting?
Okay, so here's the thing. Do you want to save director for after the actors?
I'll do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's save it for after the actors. Let's see. We'll start with supporting.
Sure.
We'll start with supporting actress.
Okay.
The nominees.
Bottom to top.
The nominees from the poll, bottom to top. Rachel McAdams in Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Nice.
Penelope Cruz in Ferrari. Julianne Moore in May, December.
Nice.
Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. And Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer.
Nice.
Oh, by the way, before we totally move on here, did you, in screenplay, do you have a winner? Like a personal winner? It doesn't have to be from here. It's just like whatever your personal one is. The best screenplay winner.
May, December.
May, December. Then you agree with the consensus.
Yeah,
I honestly,
yeah.
The thing is, I think I agree with you. I think May, December is kind of sweeping there. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Sorry, I just forgot.
You forgot. I forgot.
So
we all forgot.
The poll submissions, the winner there is Emily Blunt.
She's great.
She's fantastic in it.
She might even win the Oscar. Actually, I think Davine Joy Randolph.
I think,
and she's
has
really
that
good.
Locked up. And she has, of the nominees, I'll go over the nominees real quick. The Oscar nominees for Best Supporting Actress are Emily Blunt, Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple, America Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster in Nyad, and Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers.
Yeah.
Davine Joy Randolph has won virtually every
She's
single
very, very good.
precursor.
I'm assuming the only thing that Emily Blunt won was drama at the Golden Globe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And that's a great performance that like
I think she's really, really good.
Especially in contrast with Davine Joy Randolph, who is like she is the third lead of the movie. It's a pretty beefy role for what we're normally looking at for supporting actress nominees.
Totally.
Versus Emily Blunt, who is a relatively minor presence in a much larger scope movie. And really, honestly, this nomination is based off the one scene she has towards the end of the movie where she is fucking amazing.
She's amazing. Probably the best written female character Nolan's ever done.
Well, there's Anne Hathaway in Interstellar. I think
I haven't seen that movie.
Has always been my go-to for like.
That's on me.
Look, I would never turn down it when people say about Nolan that he can't write women, or that not that he can't, but that he doesn't put well-written, well-shapen, developed characters into his movies. That's a fair and justified criticism. So but like in terms of like having a response to like, has he ever done it? I always point to Hannah.
Sure. I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah. I think it's his. It beats Oppenheimer, which I think is his second best.
Oppenheimer's
movie.
my favorite.
Oppenheimer is great.
And then Memento. But I have very unpopular opinions on Nolan. So
it's high up there, I think.
Okay.
But so of those nominees.
Okay. Thank you for putting.
I'm sorry. Should I go ahead and do the single nominees?
Sure.
So of our submissions.
Oh, I know who I put.
We did get one for Jodie Foster in Nyad.
Okay.
Here's, by the
Congrats.
way, we're bringing up category confusion here. Somebody nominated Natalie Portman in this category.
Somebody looked at the poster and saw her behind Julianne Moore and went, she's supporting.
I'll tell you this. I didn't really watch trailers. When I saw the poster before, I assumed she was not going to be the lead. But
after seeing the movie, I think it's pretty obvious.
Obviously, she doesn't qualify in this category for that role. That being said, don't do it. I don't care. Do it. Who gives a fuck?
Do whatever you want. I don't give a shit.
Salma Hayek in Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Nice.
What you'll find with these one-time nominees is there are a couple people who liked a couple outlier movies and really give them a lot of love. Tilda Swinton, they did not clarify, but she's in both Asteroid City and The Killer. I assume it's for The Killer. Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple. So somebody nominated Carey Mulligan, and I thought that this was worth bringing up here. She does have a supporting part in Saltburn.
But I believe it's only one scene. I have not seen the movie.
Now, there is some argument about whether or not she should have been nominated for lead in Maestro. she's first billed in that movie. She's the lead of Maestro.
I agree.
So I'm going to
I think
give
she
you
counts as lead.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you were nominating her for her one scene cameo in Saltburn.
It's not me because I haven't seen that film.
Not you, the person
Sorry,
who
it's
did
just the way you were looking me directly in the eye when you said it.
You did it. You love Carey Mulligan in Saltburn.
Apparently she's very good in her one scene.
Leslie Uggams in American Fiction.
Nice.
Catalina Saavedra. I haven't seen Rotting in the Sun, but there you go.
Neither have I.
Tontu Cardinal in Killers of the Flower Moon. Issa Rae in American Fiction. Florence Pugh in Oppenheimer.
Sure.
Tessa Thompson in Creed 3. And Cara Jade Myers in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wait.
What?
We're in Best Supporting Actress.
Yes.
And you're done with that list.
Those are the one-time nominees.
Does that mean that you also nominated Ayo Edebiri for The Sweet East in your supporting actress
I didn't,
category?
but she received more than one nomination, but not enough to make it into the top 5.
But like not for the same movie or for the same movie?
I mean, what other? I guess she was in Teenage Mutant
Because she was in
Ninja Turtles.
Bottoms.
Oh yeah,
And she might be the supporting.
that's the
actress
thing
in
is
Bottoms.
I assumed it. I forget,
that's why I think I put
everybody
Sweet
else.
East next to
Everybody
it.
else is hot on Bottoms and hasn't seen Sweet East, and I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
So
I was super expecting her to be in there from my
No,
thing, and for other people to nominate her for Bottoms.
I would have to like look up the poll, but I believe she received like a handful of votes.
Okay, because I would have to watch Bottoms. I assumed the two of them were leads, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Rachel said it as the lead and she's being considered the supporting.
So from our nominees, which of these would we want to unanimously get rid of? This is a hard list to pull from, I think.
Well, I mean, what's easy about it is neither of us has seen
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
But I love Rachel McAdams, and I think I would like that movie a lot. Because it's the same director as Edge of 17.
Thinking you would like it
is very different from, because I actually think that everyone here deserves it.
Yeah. So, and I think per our, the conversation we just had.
Really struggling to remember every movie I've seen last year.
I think it's very obvious who we would replace her with, right?
Who?
Oh, Ayo Edebiri.
Oh, yeah. In The Sweet East, correct?
Yes.
If I'm you, it's yes. That's my response to you.
You've quoted that line to me maybe daily since we saw that movie.
It's my favorite thing because the way she says it sounds like she's saying something real, but then you think about it for 3 seconds and it's nonsense.
Well, there's a lot of that in that movie. Of someone
But I think that she's so perfect at doing that one because she's got it in the character so well.
Yes, and it perfectly encapsulates the kind of faux, authentic, fake speak that people who are trying to get something out of each other will use.
It's really, and the cadence is just perfect. I think it's so good.
So I think, that's good. So it is now your turn to go first. You have used two.
Wait, no, it's your turn to go first.
It is my turn to go first. So I have used one swap and one replace. So I've got 3 more of each. Let me see who else is in there. I have a feeling I'm not going to get much help there. I have Danielle Brooks, America Ferrera, and Jodie Foster. None of those I feel like I want to put in over.
I haven't seen Color
nominees.
Purple. I'm sure Danielle Brooks is very good because I have heard very good things about her specifically in that movie.
Here's what I'm gonna do, and this might be a little controversial here.
Go for it.
Of these, the performance that I am kind of like least attached to is actually Emily Blunt.
Okay.
And I'm going to replace her with a performance that is equally small, but that I haven't really seen lauded, and I want to give it some exposure here. Tracy Ellis Ross has she has about 2, maybe 3 scenes at the beginning of American Fiction.
Yeah.
And without giving away what happens in that movie, she has a very small presence in it, but she so immediately changes the way that movie is operating. And her chemistry with Jeffrey Wright is so
I really like
dramatic
her
and
in general too. But she's so good in that movie.
I'm not super exposed to her film work before this. I primarily know her from TV before this.
Yeah.
I think she is so excellent in this. It is an example of like she's in 10 minutes of the movie, but like the whole thing falls apart without her.
Yeah,
I really think.
I mean, yeah, the whole movie is
it hinges
based on
on
her.
your belief
Well, and
of
also-
her brother, of her relationship with her brother.
well, that, and also because she's only in the beginning of the movie, she gets a lot of the like setup dialogue that done by another not as good actress, I think would have felt really trite to me. It would have felt very like, oh, okay, yeah, we got to set up the movie. And especially when it comes to something that's an adaptation of a book, they got to get a lot in those first 10 minutes. And she does a lot of that heavy lifting and still does a really good job of being the character and giving
That's
a
the
good
thing, is that
performance.
she
It's
never
really
it nev-
impressive.
she never feels like her scenes are homework, like they probably
Yes.
should feel.
Exactly.
So you now
This is hard because I don't want to get rid of any of those.
So you're who you have to work with, and you have used 2 swaps, so you have 2 swaps left and 4 replaces. Tracy Ellis Ross, Davine Joy Randolph, Julianne Moore, Penelope Cruz, Io Debris. Do you want to use a swap or a replace? I think you probably want to use a replace.
I was probably gonna use a replace.
Yeah.
And I don't know her name. Let me go to it real quick. I would like to do.
Oh,
How do I get in there? Where do I-
you.
I'm on desktop. I don't know how to use Letterboxd on desktop.
Let me see here.
Right here. I believe this is her. Nope.
You are looking.
me.
1 second
Sorry.
here. This is really riveting. Other supporting performances that I really. Yuki
Minami Hamabe.
From Godzilla -1.
From
Do you want to
Godzilla
speak about
-1.
her a little bit?
I just think she's really good. And I mean, she's in a lot of the movie. I don't want to give away what happens, but like she has a really integral scene in the middle
That
where she is incredible.
That should be silly.
Yes. I just need to figure out who I'm replacing
it's-
her with.
Minami Hanabe.
I feel bad because I really like Julianne Moore.
That was where I was going to go with this too.
I really like Julianne Moore. And because my thing with like Penelope Cruz is I like that movie less, but I think she's so good that I feel like I can't get rid of her.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to get rid of Julianne Moore.
Who is great, but really the juice of that movie. I mean, we're going to talk about this in the
We'll
other
talk about it
categories
again.
here. Julianne Moore, as crazy as this sounds to say, is kind of the least important of the 3 elements
Yeah,
there.
but
which
she's
is
incredible.
Which sounds like dumb, like saying it, you know?
So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I think that is a good call.
I think she is like of the actors in that movie, I think she is my favorite.
I love the guy. I can't remember the actor's name right now. He's the kind of kooky professor.
Yeah, I know who you're
with
talking
like the
about.
glasses. He looks like
He's fun.
he looks like a video game villain.
He's fun. But yeah, I think
Um,
that she's very integral to the movie while not being the main character. I think she also has a really fun character arc, the way she is at the beginning of the movie versus how she is as she gets to know the main character.
Yes,
And she sells both very well.
Well, because like so she's part of a romance, and they do the kind of like annoying like I hate you and the guy's a little too shy like meeting at the beginning where she's maybe a little gruff, but they kind of shed off the layers of vulnerability with each other
Because they're forced to have a family together. It's
because
so sweet.
they're forced to have a family together. That movie,
I really like that movie.
That movie really like works for me.
I really like that movie.
And
and it's also one, the more I think about it, I didn't know she was in Phoenix Wright. That's fun.
You've seen that's.
I got to watch that movie
Sorry,
again.
I'm sorry. Do you want to talk about the fact about Phoenix Wright for you?
What fact
That
about
it is the only
hair?
Takashi Miike that you've ever
Oh
seen.
yeah, it's the only Takashi Miike I've ever seen, and they do the hair really well in this movie. It's a really good movie, and it's a really good adaptation of the video game, which is the greatest video game ever made, which is the first 3 Ace Attorney games.
Okay.
Anyway, we can continue now.
So as I want to go ahead and restate here,
I like that you were watching me do that. You were like, "This is riveting."
the winner from the community is Emily Blunt. Even though I removed her, honestly, deservedly so.
I think so too.
Because I mean, the emotional gut punch of like the weirdly kind of fast wrap up that movie does in the last like 15, 20 minutes, a lot of shit starts happening all at once.
Mm-hmm.
The intensity that she ratchets things up to in that scene really sets the tone for what's going to come for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Who is your personal winner?
For supporting actress,
Yeah,
probably Davine Joy Randolph.
really. I agree with you that she's excellent, and I am very excited for her to win. Penelope Cruz is my win.
I also agree with that because again, I didn't love that movie. I really had to pee for that last like hour. I thought we were much further into it than we were, and we were not.
You
and
were very distracted most of that.
I was very
movie.
distracted. I was also, I had COVID and I didn't know yet. So like, I don't know if you remember that. I was in the process of becoming sick, and I was like, am I becoming sick or am I sick now? I was very uncomfortable in that movie, and I still thought she was amazing.
The whole thing hangs on her.
I would probably like that movie better if I didn't have COVID. She's
playing the wife of Enzo Ferrari, a cuckolded woman who is trying to make the best of her situation. Even in that vulnerable of a situation, she plays it with so much like intensity and rage that never comes across as impotent. She is in control, even in scenes where if you writ down all the facts of them, you'd be like, oh, she's clearly not in control. What are you talking about? She doesn't actually have the upper hand there.
Yeah.
But
she's perfect. And she controls her facial expressions really well.
She is like almost maybe to the rest of the movie's detriment. She is so dominant that like Adam Driver, who I think is actually quite good in the movie, is kind of engulfed by this performance.
Yeah. Well, and also Shailene Woodley's never been a very good actress. She looks really bad in comparison.
She's quite a problem.
She looks really bad in comparison. You're like, why are you cheating on Penelope Cruz?
I don't have a ton else to say about Ferrari in general.
Yeah, me either.
But I
think she's very good.
I did want to highlight, for me, that is my winner.
Because for me it would be a tie there where I'm like, I like Davine Joy Randolph in the role. I like the role. I like the movie.
Yeah.
So that's my overall win. But yeah, Penelope Cruz is probably the most impressive performance to me.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I think we are ready to move on to Best Supporting Actor.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and read the nominees per the vote. Number 5, Sterling K. Brown.
Nice.
Number 4, Mark Ruffalo.
Solid.
Number 3, Chuck Melton. Number 2, Ryan Gosling. Number 1, Robert Downey Jr. So
boring, easy choice.
Boring, easy choice.
No, he's good. I don't mean to say he's not good.
It actually is like a fantastic performance.
I know, but I don't like giving it credit for some reason. I think it's just because it's so clearly like the second the movie came out, we were like, we already know who's winning supporting actor this year. And it wasn't even necessarily because he was so good. It's just because he's him.
It's because he's him. Everyone's saying everyone's so happy he's not Iron Man. I really think that everybody has it backwards. They're giving him this because he's Iron Man.
Exactly.
It's a good performance that I like a lot. When he wins, I'll be like, he's a great actor, and I'm glad he has an Oscar.
But we're unanimously removing him together, right?
Well, before we get to a removal here, let's go ahead and look at all the performances that got one nomination. We have Milo Machado Grenier from Anatomy of a Fall, who I believe is the kid.
Yeah.
That is actually a really undersung performance. It's excellent. He's so good. Donnie Yen in John Wick Chapter 4. Jason Clarke in Oppenheimer, which is a really fun choice for supporting actor. I can't believe only one person did that.
Yeah.
Nathan Lane in Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, he's very good.
Great performance.
I actually forgot about how good that is.
Amy Ryan, who is his counterpart, did not receive any nominations.
She's very
supporting
good.
actress,
Also,
which is a huge fucking bummer.
Also, something I forgot while we were talking about it just now, the girl from Beau is Afraid, the young girl in Beau is Afraid.
Oh.
Incredible. Doing whatever Sadie Sink thought she was doing in The Whale.
Yeah, that is kind of the good version of that.
It's also because it's the movie it works in too, but like she is doing such a good job because she is just the right amount of crazy for the movie.
Yes.
Anyway, continue.
Other things that received one nomination in Best Supporting Actor. Will Ferrell in Barbie.
He's fun.
He's fun.
I wouldn't give him an Oscar for it, but he's fun.
The parts of the movie he's the part of are kind of the worst part of that thing for me. So it's hard. Messi, the dog from Anatomy of a Fall.
I think I know who did that.
Jason Bateman in Air.
Okay.
Also, I believe this is the Elemental person, so you're getting called out twice. They did not clarify which movie. I had to look up. They were in 2 movies, and I actually don't know which one of these it's most likely. Daveed Diggs for Little Mermaid and Trolls Band Together. Whoever you are, you're banned from submitting things to my...
No longer allowed on the podcast.
Yeah. This one's definitely me, Reggie John Page in Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves.
I did forget about that while I was doing that, but I love him.
And Harris Dickinson in The Iron Claw.
That was me.
Yes. A really, really good.
I think he's great. He's my favorite. I mean, besides Zac Efron, he's my favorite in the movie. I think everyone's really good.
Really? You'd put him over, well, I guess we'll talk about it here as we go through.
We will. So
a unanimous removal here. I think, honestly, I would say Ryan Gosling, actually, of these.
I figured one of us was going to get rid of him anyway.
So
But we can.
well, which would you rather? Which of these is less precious to you? Ryan Gosling or
Neither
Downey
of these
Jr.?
are precious to me because neither of them was on my list. Actually, only 2 of these were on my list. I like Ruffalo, but I didn't have room for him.
He doesn't quite make the 5 for me.
Yeah, I didn't have room for him, but
it's a good performance.
Yeah.
He's
but whoever
kind
we
of just doing
replace-
his one thing.
are we doing Krumholtz?
Well, I think so, because that's maybe the supporting performance that you and I have talked about the most. Besides,
And I think
Charles
it's the most us.
Besides Charles Melton.
Besides Charles Melton, who's our winner. Spoiler.
He's
My winner.
Yeah, we should go ahead.
Spoiler.
Well, before we totally settle on Krumholtz here, I want to bring up.
We can talk about.
I want to bring up. Damon is my.
Those were the 2
from
I was.
Oppenheimer.
Yes.
Those are really my 2.
Those are my 2 as well, and those were also the 2 I put on the list. I just say Krumholtz because for whatever reason that feels like a more us pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But
go,
I'm fine with Damon or Krumholtz, whichever one you would rather.
I think we should go Krumholtz.
Let's go Krumholtz.
Even though Matt Damon might be the one I prefer between the 2, Krumholtz
Me
is
too,
really
but
the
I
one
also-
that
yeah.
I like. It's the one we've been talking about since July.
I think so too. I just
You know,
really like him.
Do you remember, by the way, the tweet I told you that he put out about Dominic Sessa? Is he said? He said, Gen Z is a completely different way about talking about things. I asked Dominic Sessa where he's from, and he said, I'm a simp daddy, which might be my all-time favorite tweet ever. So we have unilaterally decided to get rid of Robert Downey Jr., replace him with David Krumholtz.
Yes.
It's in even numbered rounds. So that means you go first. Are you going to do?
Did we get rid of Junior or Gosling?
We got rid of Junior.
Got
I think
rid of
is what we agreed
Okay,
upon.
we agreed on that.
We switched an Oppie for an Oppie.
Okay.
I think is how we did it. From best
Let me just
supporting
look
actor,
to make
by
sure.
the way, your options from the other nominees, you have Robert Downey Jr. is the only other person who you could, if you want to do a swap this round, that's who you have to do it for.
Wait, what do you mean? There's
or
De Niro's in here.
I'm sorry. I saw De Niro and Downey Jr. next to each other. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you could do
you're
De Niro
fine.
or you could swap Downey Jr. back in.
If I do a replace, then I have 2 replaces and 2 swaps.
Yes, you have left. You have
For whatever reason, I want to get the swaps out of the way, but I also
I mean, they're less advantageous.
they are, but I also
Otherwise,
want
you just have too much control. You know.
Yeah. But I want to bring Harris Dickinson back.
I mean, we're halfway through the game here, so you can.
Let's do it. Mark Ruffalo for Harris Dickinson.
I think that's the smart choice. Mark Ruffalo for Harris Dickinson.
Yeah. Because he's the one who Mark Ruffalo was probably my 6th. And he's the one who I was like, I'm going to do Harris Dickinson instead.
See, here's the thing. I've already used 2 replaces here.
Did you see that there's going to be a movie starring Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson?
That sounds great. We really don't have time to get into that.
I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about that afterwards. I think I do.
I just wanted you to know that.
I am trying to pick between. See, here's the thing. I really want to do my pet project and put Reggae John Page in there
Sorry, I'm
because
looking at the dog again.
I really want to put Reggae John Page in there because that's like a for me one, you know. But I really think that at this point I need to be conservative with my replaces because I've already used 2. And I am going to, I'm going to get rid of Gosling and put Downey Jr. back in there.
Okay.
We haven't talked about De Niro.
I think De Niro's really good. I don't mean to say that he's not. He's just not in my 5.
He's great. He's kind of just doing his thing, though.
I like Killers of the Flower Moon a lot. Outside of Lily Gladstone, I don't think that it's an extraordinary movie. I think it's a really good movie. I think the story is
in general, the shape of the award season is agreeing with you there.
Yes,
I think that's kind of.
And again, I don't think that it's bad. I think partially because I read the book and I've already learned the story. I think the story is important to learn. I understand why Scorsese made the movie.
Yeah,
I think the book is a better way to learn this information.
I agree with you. So
my winner is Charles Melton.
My winner is also Charles Melton in a walk.
He's so good. I love him so much.
It's not even close.
I still, that is the one big snub for the Oscars. Pretty much everything.
Yeah,
pretty much everything else. I'm kind of like, whatever. This is what they do. This is kind of the way the Oscars are. This is the one where I'm like, come on. He was everyone's favorite. Everyone thought he was going to get nominated. I cannot believe they didn't do it.
Yeah, Charles Melton is completely fantastic. He sells.
So good.
I mean, he's playing somebody who has been effectively chained to the same woman since he was 13 years old, except for she's 20 years his senior. He plays all the weird, kind of complicated emotions that would come with a guy who is now in his mid 30s, looking at his 13-year-old children and saying, "Oh my God, I can't possibly and processing in real time what that means about him and his life without allowing his own life to fall apart because for obvious reasons he has interest in keeping it going."
Yeah. I also think,
continue.
I also think part of what's so impressive about that performance to me, the movie's pretty campy. It's pretty over the top. And so when he's sort of, because his character is clearly supposed to be emotionally stunted, and I think that he plays that in a way that is really, really good without being over the top, even for the campy movie. It's the exact perfect amount for the movie that he's in.
Oh yeah.
In a way that I think that someone else would have done way too much.
He is, I mean, not quietly. I mean, he's like
the best part of that movie.
He's like openly heartbreaking to watch in that thing.
He's so good.
He's fantastic. It's a huge bummer he wasn't nominated because I think I'm like, my number 2 is maybe like Matt Damon, and I still think that's a distant number 2. And I love that performance.
Yeah, me too. And I'm probably the same, although I'd also really like Sterling K. Brown.
We have to move on.
Yes, sorry.
Our next
Sterling K. Brown, good.
Sterling K. Brown, who
we kept him.
We kept him.
I just wanted to make sure I said
in there. Of the nominees, he might be the one of the Oscar nominees, he might be the one I'd most want to see win.
Me too.
It's not going to happen.
Me too. Yeah, I don't think so. But he's the one of the Oscar nominees, he's my favorite.
Yes. We are moving on to Best Actress.
Okay.
The nominees from the polls are Natalie Portman, Margot Robbie, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Huller, and Emma Stone. The one time Emma Stone is the Community winner here.
She's very good.
She's very good in that movie. Well, we're going to get into that in a minute here. We're just going to go through these very quickly here. One nomination people here. Anjanae Ellis-Taylor in Origin, Mia McKenna Bruce in How to Have Sex, Meg Ryan in What Happens Later, Fantasia Barrino in The Color Purple, Caitlin Dever in No One Will Save You, Chieko Baisho in Plan 75. That's me.
I wonder who that is.
Margaret Qualley in Sanctuary, Lily Sullivan in Evil Dead Rise.
Nice.
Category fraud. Julianne Moore in May December. You swapped him, buddy. You put him in.
Guy who hasn't seen the movie but only saw the poster.
Kaylee Spaney and Priscilla, and
She's
Benedetta Porcaroli and Amanda. I assume that's you.
Oh man, I wonder who did that one.
Yes,
I wonder if it's the guy I paid to submit the the sheet for me.
Yes,
I really like her. I think she's really good.
It's a wonderful performance. So we have our 5 nominees here. Who do we want to get rid of here?
Wait. So we each have 2 swaps and 2 replaces left, right?
We've both played it pretty balanced here.
Okay.
Okay,
yes. I'm good. Sorry, I just wanted to look at what I'm doing.
Of course. I think I know what I want to do here. And I think we were afraid of doing this exact same thing.
Exactly
so
what we were afraid of doing.
Here's the thing. Do we want to pick someone else besides Margot Robbie to seem less pointed? Or do we just want to go ahead and get that out of the way?
One of us is going to get rid of her anyway because all of the other 4 were on my list.
So maybe we should go ahead and just share the blame?
I think we should share the blame.
Okay.
Rather than you looking sexist or me looking internally sexist.
I like that performance.
I think she's very good.
And it levels the movie in a way I think, and she would agree with, not to speak for her, but just based off interviews she's given.
She doesn't seem to.
I think she thinks her biggest contribution to that movie is as a producer.
Yeah.
That's what she seems proudest of.
And she got the nomination for Best Picture.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I think we're going to go ahead and remove Margot Robbie.
Okay, who are we replacing her with?
That's hard.
Yeah, because the other 4 were there. My last one was Amanda.
Because we have to remove somebody.
This is really hard. There aren't a lot of movies whose main character is a woman.
I mean, we could replace her with Talia Ryder. We could
replace her with Talia Ryder. I think she's very good.
I'm comfortable
Sweetie's
with that.
Just coming up a lot more than I was expecting it to.
It's a great movie.
The only other thing I would say is like Scarlett Johansson in Asteroid City, but there's so many people in that movie. it's hard to call someone a lead like that.
Yeah.
Especially for like, she's just the biggest female character.
Yes.
But I do think she's really good at that movie.
I think, like, again, she just fell in between, didn't get literally one and didn't make it into the top 5. Like, it's not like she got no attention. I just am highlighting the two extremes.
I wanted to say as something that we both liked. But yeah, I guess I would rather do Talia Ryder.
So we're putting in Talia Ryder over Margot Robbie. Apologies, Margot.
Margot, who is definitely listening to this and cares so much about my opinion. It is a odd numbered
round, which means I go first.
Okay.
Which means I have to pick somebody to replace.
Ugh.
This is difficult. I actually think, here's the thing. I'm going to come full circle on this movie because when we walked out, I said, I'm not crazy about it. I'm going to plug in Kaylee Spaney and Priscilla.
Okay. I was kind of hoping. Sucks.
Here's the thing. She's getting plenty of attention elsewhere. I'm taking Emma Stone out. Sorry.
Sure.
I don't care that much. I think it's a really cool performance. My opinion, her best performance this year was in The Curse. Like I would much rather that.
I do really like her in Poor Things.
I like that movie and she's most of what works about it.
I know you don't like that movie as much as I do. Like I know that that's also part of it.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. If you wanted to do a switch, you would have to pick Carey Mulligan or Annette Bening.
Or Emma Stone, because you just removed her.
Well, I mean, if I had wanted to do a switch this round,
if you had, but now I can't.
So now I have done 3 replaces. We have Kaylee Spaney in there. You have 2 left of each.
Yeah, because the issue that I'm running into, I'm trying to like strategically do my swaps and replaces.
Yeah.
Is that there's just no way I'm going to use a swap in Best Actor. There's just no way 100%. I know that for a fact. But does it then make sense to save my swaps for director and picture because I agree with these more?
I'm going to be honest with you, not to be rude. Aside from the couple performances I really like in terms of the nominees, Best Actress is a real swap category this, or is a real replace category this year.
Well, because I was going to say is like, because I'm looking at this and it's like there's not a ton of main female characters.
No, it's a real dude heavy year.
Yeah,
honestly.
And like while dudes rock, that's not making this easy.
Yeah. So I mean, or do you want to do a swap instead of a replace then?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if it's easier to do the swap and just throw Emma Stone back in. And I guess I would get rid of Kaylee Spaney.
So we just net zero.
Yeah.
You would take Talia Ryder over Kaylee Spaney.
I don't know. That is actually really hard. Both movies with Jacob Elordi in a supporting role.
Yeah.
But both movies I also thought about putting Jacob Elordi down, but there's too many supporting actors this year for me to do that. It just would have, honestly, I think it would have been funny to put him there.
Yes.
But he's good in both.
He's great. Well, you got to pick. Which one?
I already said.
Oh, Kaylee Spaney for sure?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know if we were doing that.
Honestly, I don't know why.
Wasted a replace on that.
Sorry.
That's the game, right?
I ruined it for you.
Best Actress, who is your pick? Like over, like
Lily Gladstone. I know that that's like easy.
Yeah.
Either Lily Gladstone or Natalie Portman.
I am well, here's the thing. In hopes that I am sending good energy towards what is looking like to be the closest race of the Oscars night, I'm going to give my personal election to Lily Gladstone because I would really like her to win. I got to be honest with you. Emma Stone it's a good performance. It doesn't even match Lily Gladstone.
I think so too. And even though I think that she's very good, I don't know. I see her. She's the kind of person who they're going to nominate her for whatever big thing she does.
This is, the sad reality of the industry is that this is definitely not Emma Stone's last nomination, and it is probably not Lily Gladstone's last nomination. Yes. You know what I mean?
No,
so
exactly.
I hate to treat them like, oh, they've earned it or something, but I'm like, here's the thing. In addition to the politicking of that, it is also the best performance of the year.
Yes, exactly.
And that's why it would be a real shame for it to go to an Oscar sweetheart this year in particular.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. So we're going to move on to Best Actor.
I'm so happy.
I shouldn't
have looked at that, but I'm so happy.
I mean, So we have a nice, fun little surprise here at the
Actually,
bottom.
I think this might be exactly my list.
Really?
I think that's exactly my 5.
So-
yeah. Okay. Continue.
So here's the thing.
Cool.
That just makes it harder for you.
Yeah, but that's really fun that everyone agrees with me.
So the nominees per the poll for Best Actor are Jason Schwartzman in Asteroid City.
Nice.
Really fantastic undersung
That's
performance.
incredible.
Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction.
Amazing guy.
Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers.
Yeah.
Zac Efron in The Iron Claw. And Cillian Murphy in
Oppenheimer. Yes.
Uh,
that is literally my 5.
So actors who received exactly one nomination in our poll. Channing Tatum in Magic Mike's Last Dance. Somebody out.
Do you think it's the guy who kept putting Magic Mike?
Somebody out there is Last Dance really has shooters. Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. He is not the lead of that movie. It is insane to think. It is insane to think that is the lead of the movie. Barry Keoghan in Saltburn. Alden Ehrenreich in Fair Play, Adam Driver in Ferrari, Kelvin Harrison Jr. in Chevalier, not a movie I expected to come up today.
I don't think I've heard of that film.
It's the movie that like it's about the guy with a sword. It came out in like last January.
I don't even know what this is.
Teo Yu in Past Lives, Harris Dickerson in Scrapper, Koji Yakusho in Perfect Days, and Mads Mikkelsen in The Promised Land.
Okay.
So here's what sucks. We have to get rid of one of these now.
Shit. Crap.
Yeah, this really blows.
Ugh.
I hate that I'm about to suggest this, but I think it's the only thing that makes
Is
any
it
sense.
Schwartzman?
We have to get rid of
I think it's
Jason
okay.
Schwartzman.
So we're in the same. I don't like this.
Because like, here's the thing: Giamatti, Wright, and Murphy. All of those guys would make me equally ecstatic to see win.
Yes, and Zac Efron is my winner. I wish he was nominated.
Yeah,
Frankly, I just think he's so good.
Some weird eligibility requirements with that. That he was like, the Iron Claw was released like 2 days too late.
I believe it
in
is
America.
2 days. It's really annoying. I really think that he would have been a fun
really
nomination.
He is number 2 in our poll. Online has an incredibly strong following there. I almost wonder if this was done because he was considered too legitimate of a threat to Cillian Murphy.
Oh, if people saw it early and they were like, "Ooh, shit,"
which is a real shame because I think it's a.
I don't think he would have won over Cillian Murphy. Just like for the real Oscars, he would have won in my Lily Oscars.
Yes.
Lily Oscars, which are hosted every year on the Good First Impression podcast.
Yeah, Good First Impression podcast, the real podcast that definitely exists. That you
podcast
film,
within a podcast.
Yes, that you film every year. Comes out once a year.
Once a year.
So who are we going to replace Schwartzman with?
You know what's really fucking too bad? That Hitman didn't actually come out this year.
I toyed with putting Glenn Powell on.
I just believe it's not legal.
I think most people won't. It's like so close. It'll come out like later this month.
I know. I love him so much. Though.
I don't
even have any other opinions except for like I'm even looking at this and I'm like, I guess Chris Pine.
I mean, so here are some like strong contenders I would think of. Fassbender is really great in The Killer.
Oh shit, I missed the opportunity to put Allison Williams in Best Actress.
Yeah.
Shit.
Chris Pine in Dungeons and Dragons, I think, is a legitimate.
The little boy in Skinamarink.
We are talking around Tom Cruise, but he is an option here.
I have not seen that film, but I'm sure he's good.
Let's see here.
Was he nominated last year?
For actor? No, he wasn't.
Oh, well, he should have been.
I mean.
Oh, you know what? Joaquin Phoenix, I think, is solid.
In
Beau is Afraid. I think he's actually very good.
That is a good consensus one considering where this is.
Yeah, because I think he was my 6. Although that means that now I gotta.
Okay, so we put
Shit,
in.
I'm first, aren't I?
Joaquin Phoenix. You have to go first. You have. What did you do the last round? You did a swap.
Yeah, so I have a replace and a swap left.
You have 2 replaces and a swap left.
Yeah.
3, yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm doing a swap here. Sorry. Have you seen the list of nominees?
I've seen the list of nominees. The other options, by the way, are Coleman Domingo and Rustin and Bradley Cooper. And
I would nominate Coleman Domingo. Because if we did this last year, my pick for supporting actor would have been Coleman Domingo and Zola.
Was Zola technically a 2022?
Was that 22 or 23?
I thought it was 21.
Or 22 or 21. I actually don't remember what year that was anymore.
It's a long time ago that we saw it. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway, I really like him as an actor. I have no interest in seeing this film that nobody has seen and nobody likes.
Very Oscar baity. Yes. I think that is the consensus on it.
What did we do? We did Joaquin Phoenix. God, that this sucks.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I think I have to steal yours.
Okay, go ahead.
And I guess I'll replace. Oh God.
This is.
I'm trying to figure out, do I replace who we just put in, or do I do one of the others just for fairness?
This is the toughest category.
I guess. Sorry to anyone listening to this who's like, what the hell is wrong with her? I guess I'll replace Giamatti with Chris Pine in Dungeons and Dragons.
That is insane.
I didn't like doing it. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good. But now I gave you the opportunity to do a swap if you would like.
I am going to. So you just did a replace, right?
Yeah, I might have helped you.
So I'm going to. I like Joaquin a lot, and I like Beau is Afraid.
That was a solid consensus choice.
I am going to put Giamatti right on back. I am so sorry. He needs to be in there.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know where that came from. I just couldn't get rid of any of the others, and I felt bad immediately getting rid of Joaquin for some reason, because I was the one who suggested him, so I felt bad being like, I got to get rid of him.
So we each have one of each
Please
left.
don't come for me at my house.
We have to do. You are like traumatized by the horse girl thing?
Literal horse girls.
Yes. So we each have.
Listen to the Night Swim episode to figure out what that's about.
We each have. Everyone's definitely listening to the Night Swim episode.
Well, that's what I'm saying is they haven't heard that because nobody listened to the Night Swim episode.
So we have Best Director and Best Picture left.
And I have a swap and a replace.
I have a swap and a replace. We have played this pretty evenly. Mm-hmm. So our community nominees.
Ours is going to be very similar, isn't it?
I find this will be a kind of surprising, like coming from just like a consensus. Jonathan Glazer, Yorgos Lanthimos, Todd Haynes, Justine Triet, and Christopher Nolan. Mm-hmm. Notably absent from this list, Martin Scorsese did not make this list.
I don't think he made mine.
Greta Gerwig did not make this list. I think I probably nominated him again.
I think my fifth was Wes Anderson.
That movie is a really impressive overall effort.
Yeah.
It's just
Killers.
Killers.
Yeah, well, it's not Scorsese's best.
No, it's not.
It's not De Niro's best. It's not Leo's best. We didn't even talk about Leo because who cares?
So we have to remove somebody from this list.
Fuck you. Sorry.
Let's see here.
I mean, I guess Glazer. I know this sounds annoying, but like we are playing a game. I can be a little strategic. If one of us needs to, we can put him back.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Okay. So,
what director?
But then we have to pick somebody to replace him with.
I want Anderson. But also something we both really like, Iron Claw. We could put
Sean Durkin.
Thank you.
So we could do Wes Anderson. We could do Sean Durkin. I was going to suggest Takashi Yamazaki for Godzilla -1.
I'm good with that.
I'm real good with that. You'd rather do that than Sean Durkin.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. In he goes. Okay. So it is a odd numbered round, which means I go first, right? You just went first. So I go first.
Yeah.
I have got a swap and a replace left. I am trying to decide exactly what I am going to do here. I think, let's see.
Do you want to list the one noms while you think?
Let's see who we... Yes, I will list the one noms, which I didn't do for this category. I forgot. Where is my best director? Oh, yeah. People who received one nomination: Chad Stahelski, John Wick 4, Sofia Coppola for Priscilla, Takashi Yamazaki actually also did, Steven Soderbergh for Magic Mike's Last Dance, our friend, Ava DuVernay for Origin.
Do you think Channing Tatum put those in?
Andrew Hay for All of Us Strangers. And Kelly Fremont Craig for Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Nice.
Smaller pool. I think that this was a really focused. I'll tell you, when I was tabulating the votes, Christopher Nolan was dominant, like maybe more so than in any category except for maybe Best Actor. I think this is his. Mm-hmm. I think, and then let's see, if you were going to do a swap. Mm-hmm. Your options would be
Scorsese or Glazer.
Martin Scorsese or Jonathan Glazer. Here's what I'm going to go ahead and do for Best Director. I'm going to cut Yorgos for Scorsese.
Okay.
Because I think the scale of that movie is very impressive, even if I don't totally love the final product. And that is my last swap. I have one replace left going into the last round here. So give me 1 second here.
And I'm going to undo what you just did.
You're just going to literally hot swap it right back out.
I'm going to swap it right back.
Do you want to speak on why you want to put Yorgos in there instead of Scorsese?
Yorgos is one of my personal favorites.
Yes. Besides,
I really like Poor Things.
Movie.
I do like the movie. I think it's visually very impressive. I think the way that it's shot is one of the best parts of the movie. I think if there's anything that could be considered the best part of that movie, it's either Emma Stone or the way the movie is shot by Yorgos. In my opinion.
Sure. Okay. Here's the thing. I wanted to leave time for Best Director. This race seems so locked down because here's the thing.
Nolan's going to win, right?
Who's the community winner? Nolan. Who's my winner? Nolan. It's really not even close. I'm just trying to
mine's
decide
either going to be Nolan or Trier. I really love Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall, which we haven't talked a ton about.
We haven't, but it's one of my favorites of all the Oscar nominee movies. It's my favorite Oscar movie of the year. My favorite movie of the year is May December, of course.
I know. I think
they don't know that.
I think it's still Oppenheimer for me.
Oppenheimer. I think it's my 6.
It feels so boring.
If that helps. No, it's my 5.
It feels so boring to say Oppenheimer is the best movie.
It is a good movie, though.
I think it is. That's the thing is I keep seeing stuff that I love. And Iron Claw, I thought was going to topple it for a while.
I really loved
it. And
Iron
I still
Claw.
walked away and I was like, nothing touches Oppie for me.
I don't know. I mean, other than how much I love May December, that is how I feel a lot of the time seeing movies that are not Anatomy of a Fall. Because every time I think of it, I'm like, it is just so well crafted.
Yeah, I know.
Every aspect of it is just perfect.
Yes. It's
so
really
interesting the whole way through.
Excellently constructed.
Oh my God. I love that movie.
So this is going to be relevant in our talk about Best Picture, which I guess here's the thing, since it seems like Best Director is kind of a walk, we'll just give a little bit more space for Best Picture here then.
Sure.
So
there's more pictures. So
here's the thing, is like an elimination round before reading off the 10 nominees, I figured I would do the one nominees. So we have Hirokazu Koreeda's Monster. We have Plan 75. I have no idea who submitted that.
It was terrible.
We have one nominee for Saw 10.
Nice. I have heard that one's good. And you know what? I would like to see it.
Yes. Only one nominee for Dungeons and Dragons, which is weird. I don't know who put that one in there.
Sorry that I didn't put it in there.
Evil Does Not Exist. I wonder who did that. Amanda, I wonder who did that.
The rest of them are just me.
One Best Picture nominee for Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that the one with Aubrey Plaza?
No, that's the one that's
the other one.
Operation Fortune : De Rigueur.
Because 2 came out last year. 2 Guy Ritchie movies came out last year.
The Aubrey Plaza one was forestalled because the bad guys are Ukrainians.
Yes, I remember that.
It was held for 2 years.
Just like the little cartoon game.
Only one nominee for Magic Mike. One nomination for Origin.
Yeah.
One nomination for Saltburn. One for Rotting in the Sun. There's our friend visiting us again. I guess we should watch Rotting in the Sun.
I have nothing against it. I don't think I know that movie.
It was like a movie release earlier in the year, and I think we were truly just busy that week. And Perfect Days receives one nomination.
Only one. I would really like to see that movie. I think I would like that movie a lot.
So the nominees from 10 to 1.
I have a replace left, not a swap.
So, same. We both have one replace left, which I hope means that we can do something fun here.
That was what I was hoping to do.
Number 10, Past Lives. Number 9, May December. Number 8, Barbie. Number 7, The Boy and the Heron.
Oh, wow.
Number 6, I know it's actually here's the thing. It was in the middle of the pack for a lot of categories.
Yeah.
And I think it just Best Picture is the only place it fully broke through, but I was really happy to see it.
I'm glad that many people nominated it.
6, The Iron Claw.
Nice.
5, The Holdovers. 4, Killers of the Flower Moon. 3, Poor Things. 2, Anatomy of a Fall. And number 1, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer won that one? Wow.
Yeah. So I think we may have a consensus one we want to get rid of here.
Is it Past Lives?
It's Past Lives.
Did I say that way too quickly?
I don't even dislike that movie, and I actually think it's really well directed.
Yeah, I just don't think it's Best Picture. Personally, there were apparently 3 A24 films last year that people thought could have gotten Oscars, and one of them wasn't qualified. That one would have been better.
I watched Past Lives. It was the only thing I hadn't seen at the time of nominations, and I went in with not like high expectation. I remember when it had come out in March, everyone said really positive things about it. I was looking forward to seeing it and just missed it then. I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity to go see something I'd see. And I saw it and just kind of walked away a little deflated from it.
Yeah, I maintain, I do think that the thing I have against it the most is that while I agree that there are many reasons that Iron Claw could have been delayed those 2 days, I think at least one of them is A24 was like, we have our Oscar movies. We don't want to give them any more competition.
Do you think that was actually the safer bet for them?
What do you mean? Iron Claw over Past Lives?
Yeah. Or no, Past Lives over Iron Claw.
I think it just came out earlier in the year. I don't think they thought that Past Lives was going to be an Oscar movie until it came out and did as well as it did. And got as much critical acclaim. That's what I mean is I think that it's possible that Iron Claw was a choice for them. Then Past Lives did well.
There are a lot of other directors in the race who have kind of spoken out about how Past Lives is like one of their favorite things this year.
I think it's well directed.
I think it's really well made. I'm really excited to see the next thing Celine Song does.
Yeah, me too.
The whole movie just really doesn't work for me because I think it puts focus on different elements of the relationship than I think the movie is working against its own best interests.
No,
honestly.
The first half I think is a really well done and genuinely kind of tragic romance. Like when they're just kind of growing apart because they can't see each other, I think it's genuinely like that's so much more tragic than the end to me.
The point at the middle where it becomes a love triangle, the whole thing falls apart.
I think so
because
too.
of the third person who is introduced.
I think so too.
I think it just stops working.
And then also, because for me, I don't like him. And so that makes me like her less, is that I'm like, so why are you with him?
Well,
I know part of it is that she kind of has to be.
But she's just kind of doing that out of guilt. But the thing is that he is kind of like insidiously guilting her a little bit, but I don't think that she's actually affecting him. I think that she's staying with him out of self-incurred guilt, not out of guilt that he is like effectively engendered within her. Does that make sense? So he just kind of looks pathetic, where he kind of sits there and says, no, it's fine. I don't mind being cucked. It's really not that big a deal. And then he spends the rest of his time whining about how sad it is to be cucked after. Like I just don't.
Well, and also because that scene where he talks about being cucked, it's like 10 minutes long of him saying the same thing over and over again and her continuing to be like, will you please stop?
It is a lot of whinging.
It's really, I really didn't like that scene.
It is a lot of,
and it went on for way too long.
Bitching and moaning.
And then after that point, I was like, I don't get this anymore.
And
leave him.
I do my best to not judge a movie based on like, this character's unsympathetic. I think this character is so distractingly unsympathetic in a situation where I need to be able to sympathize with him a little bit.
For me to understand the tragedy of the film, I need to like this man a little bit.
And I find myself so distracted by how much I dislike that character construction and that performance that I have a hard time fully giving flowers to the other things that work about that movie for me.
So we're getting rid of Past Lives and we're putting in Godzilla -1, right? Together, the two of us?
I'm totally in love with that decision. I think that's great.
Cool.
I think, here's the only other thing I would argue in terms of like putting a blockbuster in there.
Okay.
Is I would maybe have put Dungeons and Dragons in there, but I think Godzilla -1 functions so much better as it functions so much better as a Best Picture nominee.
Too.
Because
I like Dungeons and Dragons too.
It was this kind of like, it was out of nowhere crossover hit. And it was, the fun thing about that is that it was a Japanese language movie that came out, I believe, the week after Boy and the Heron unexpectedly opened to #1. So it was this like 2-week period where 2 different movies were #1 at the box office, and they were subtitled films, and they were populist, enjoyable genre pictures.
I'm assuming most people probably saw Boy and the Heron dubbed.
I think so.
They shell out on those voice casts, and they are generally very good. But most of the people that I know see those dubbed.
Yes. So I'm really comfortable putting Godzilla -1 in there.
Me too.
It's like right next to Dungeons and Dragons on my list. They swap back and forth all the time.
Yes. So Yeah, I was earlier I was leaning over to make sure that May December was in there and that we didn't have to use it there.
Yeah. So this is an odd number one. So you can actually go first. We both have a replace.
Yeah, both of us have a replace.
You can do whatever you want here.
I can do literally whatever I want.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I'm gonna replace shit.
I know it's hard.
Don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna replace the holdovers with Asteroid City.
Wow. Okay, the holdovers.
Sorry.
Why the holdovers from the nominees?
I like it slightly less than Killers of the Flower Moon, and while Barbie is not my favorite movie, I think it makes sense to nominate it for Best Picture.
Yeah, I like a lot about that movie.
Me too, and I also the sets are so good, and it
always feels like damning with faint praise to say my favorite thing about that movie is the production design. But my favorite thing about that movie is the production design.
The sets are so good. I really, and I know I said it before, but those Lizzo songs perfectly fit in the parts of the movie that they're in, and they're so perfect, and they're exactly what I wanted from that movie, and was disappointed that more of the movie wasn't like that.
It's when the movie takes that away, both in the middle part where it goes to the real world and at the end where it strips it all away, is when that movie's flaws become much more glaring to me.
But yeah, I mean, because my thing is, I wish we never went into the real world. I wish that they saved that for like a sequel and that we did something with Barbie Land.
I don't think enough is done interestingly with it.
I agree. I think it would have been better to be contained in all of Barbie World because that's also what looks so good about it. But also, it was such an event. It was such an experience to go see. It does feel like a real cinematic experience. Seeing that opening scene is really wonderful. Watching her there in the Barbie Land parts are all really great. It is such a good cinematic experience. I think it deserves to be in Best Picture.
I think that is fair. And for that reason, I am not going to immediately.
It is. I mean, yes, it is my second least favorite after Past Lives.
Here's the thing of what I'm looking at what's remaining on our list. I think it's probably my least favorite of those movies, but I think the conversation around it, which has been had ad infinitum, I'm like, I understand why it's in there. And like, the thing is that I wouldn't take the nomination away.
No. Because the way that I would like the Oscars to go, like the direction I would like the Oscars themselves to go in involves them nominating Barbie.
So here's what
100%.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Barbie is this year's Top Gun.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out Poor Things.
I figured you were going to.
And I'm going to put in the Taste of Things. So there's still a thing.
There's still some things in there.
Still some
I think you were going to put other movies that you liked more in there.
I may have underrated it when I was telling you about it. The Taste of Things really is like it's not that I'm like, oh, it's just kind of a plug-in. I really loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and also like, again, not to be mean to the holdovers, but like of the rest of them after Past Lives and Barbie, that is the next one to go.
Let me ask you this. Of what's left on here, what didn't get taken out by us, what would have been your next thing to go?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
I think same, honestly.
I like Killers of the Flower Moon. As you can see, it just misses my top 10. I believe I just did this top 10 for mine.
Yeah.
As you can see.
I
didn't because of this one.
A notable exclusion. I didn't nominate Evil Does Not Exist for anything.
Yeah, I did.
And I didn't nominate Hitman for anything. Hitman is like, I think, my number 3 of the year. I know it's a really kind of basically well done version of what it is, but I just love that movie so much, and I had so much fun watching it.
Yeah, no, I know, me too. But as you can see here, it goes up to 10, and then maybe I did put Killers of the Flower Moon.
Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah,
if you took,
because Hitman's my number 6.
If you just took Hitman out, then that's probably
that is probably what I did.
Is there anything here? By the way, we should go over personal Best Picture winners. For me, honestly, it's Oppenheimer.
Mine's Anatomy of a Fall. But I'm also not going to be mad when Oppenheimer wins.
That's a great pick.
I just really like Anatomy of a Fall. And in a year that Oppenheimer didn't come out, I'd be a little more upset that Anatomy of a Fall doesn't really have a chance.
Yes.
Because I don't think it does.
Let me ask you, are there any big like snubs in terms of we didn't get a chance to talk about them here?
I don't think so. We didn't talk about Asteroid City much, but we talked about it enough. Jason Schwartzman got his nomination that we got rid of.
I know.
I'm so happy that he got enough because he was also, I told you that was my 5. I was really surprised. I thought that was going to be the one that wasn't going to going there.
I almost wish I like Chris Pine in Dungeons and Dragons a lot.
Me too.
I think he is the type of
Bradley Cooper should have gotten supporting actor for Dungeons and Dragons.
It is. I mean, that's the performance of his.
That's his better performance last
Everyone
year.
here is going to be like, because like not that many people saw Dungeons and Dragons, so people are going to listen and be like, "What the fuck is this shit?" They're going to like, they keep talking about the goddamn Dungeons and Dragons movie, like it's Citizen Kane.
They're going to be like, "Is this some bit that they do on the podcast?"
No,
and then they're going to listen to all the previous episodes.
I guess I should say about it is, I just think it is such a perfectly rendered version of a modern blockbuster.
Yeah, I think so too.
It exists within the modern blockbuster framework in that it is I don't mean this as an insult, a derivative IP that is beholden to making references and putting things in. And instead of making those homework, it weaves them into the story in a way that is integral.
Yeah.
It also has, in a year that a really excellent Mission Impossible movie came out, it has my absolute favorite action set piece of the year.
Nice.
The thing with the mirror, I think about it all the time.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I like
some of my favorite just like fantasy tropes are in there, and I just love seeing it.
And the way that Chris Pine is able to hold that whole thing together with a believable, likable performance that never becomes either grating because he's playing a little bit of a cad or boring because he's playing a main character.
Yeah.
It's really underrated work that he's doing there. And it's the type of thing that the Academy just completely ignores all the time.
Yeah.
That being said, Jason Schwartzman's career is the type of thing that gets ignored by the Academy.
No, I know. And especially when it comes to
sucks.
Because he works so well with Wes Anderson. He's always perfect in everything he's in, and he's finally a main character again. And it's like, he should have gotten nominated.
Yeah.
I think he should have gotten nominated anyway.
Something what?
Yeah, I was just going to say something that I want to mention just in general, because there weren't a ton of horror movies last year. I think Skinamarink was probably the best horror movie last year.
I think that's,
And it sucks that it doesn't get nominated for stuff. I feel like Sound would have been a good one for this one.
Yeah, it's a movie. It was made for what, like $6,000? Like
$2.
Pennies, like nothing. It's not going to be for everybody, but it was really cool when it came out, seeing that many people give it a chance. Because it was like, I think Barbarian being a relatively recent release at the time had people really hopeful, like, oh my God, is this weird secretive horror movie that nobody actually knows anything about? Is that going to become like a tradition?
Yeah.
I don't think Skinamarink is commercially appealing enough to most people that it became that thing.
No, but it did do surprisingly well for how experimental it is. And as a person who found the first 30 minutes to be a little tedious, I still think it's very accessible. And I think it's genuinely impressive.
I really love what that movie is doing.
Me too.
That being said, this was the BFI Awards. How do you think this went?
I think that went pretty well.
I thought it was really fun.
I'm disappointed by a lot of the stuff that happened, but
I think that was kind of the point.
That was kind of the point. Are we going to go through all the things again, or?
I'm going to post them separately.
In a crazy graphic that I make?
Yeah, you're going to post them separately. But you know that we went through and listed them. I don't want to I don't want to list them all now.
I was just curious.
We'll make sure that that's available for your viewing when the episode is out.
Available for your viewing pleasure.
Available for your viewing. And other than that, do you have any final thoughts on it? I thought this was a really kind of fun way to look at it. I liked introducing something a little arbitrary and unfair because
that is how it feels.
With this whole Chris Pine, Jason Schwartzman thing, I think is the exact perfect example situation where I'm like, I can't be happy either way. And I can't remove any of the other four guys. It's a bummer, you know? But that's the Oscars, right? Is that even on years where my favorite wins for Best Picture, there are always one or two things that are a bummer, you know? And I hope you hoped you didn't find this a bummer. I really hope this didn't suck to listen to. I don't know. This is my first time trying this format. I actually personally, I had a ton of fun recording.
Me too.
This was a really fun thing.
I love playing dumb little games like this with you.
Yeah, this was great. But any final words, Lily?
I'm good.
No, I'm good too. I'm actually I'm pretty happy with where we're leaving this. I'm pretty happy with our community submissions. I like my nominations a lot. And in an almost boring way, I'm happy with most of the Academy's nominations. There are very few
Me too, in a way
bad movies that I...
It's been a long time since I've looked at the Oscars list and my immediate response was, oh, cool. But
Yeah.
because like I'm never gonna like all of it. They're never gonna have all of my nominations. But having like 8 out of 10 and like how many are an actor? 5?
5.
3 out of 5 in each category.
3 out of 5 that I think are unimpeachable in almost any
in
year.
every single
Best
one of them.
wins.
And the screenplays are
Amazing
good.
wins.
Yeah, the only thing for me that's a huge disappointment, other than Melton, and the only category for me that's a disappointment is song has so many things that are just nobody's heard of, and you should nominate The Hunger Games. It was a big movie.
Yeah,
it has lots of songs in it.
I mean, but that's the worst category.
I know, but that's what I mean. Is
hate
it's like
song.
it doesn't even really matter. But also, like you could have gotten Olivia Rodrigo to perform at the Oscars. People would have watched it.
It's crazy to
You're
me.
stupid for not doing that.
It's crazy to me that the Oscars doesn't put energy into campaigns that might lead to those.
No,
sorts of
exactly.
things.
Having Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo performing at the Oscars would be huge for ratings.
Yeah, or like Dua Lipa had probably the better Barbie song.
I liked her song. I think, well, and also if it was nominated instead of even, I like I'm Just Ken, but if it was nominated instead of that as the second nomination.
Yeah.
Because that was the big radio hit.
I'm Just Ken is kind of like an internet sensation, and I think it would have been popular in its way.
I think it's a really good number in the movie.
Yes.
In a way that not every song that's always nominated for movies is, and in a way that I think is how songs should be nominated in movies.
Yes.
But most movies aren't like that, so it feels wrong to put that pressure on just this movie.
Yes.
But also, again, the Lizzo song does the same thing, and I don't want Lizzo to get nominated, but you know.
Okay. Well, that being said,
Yes, that being said,
this has been the BFI Awards.
and if you're
episode.
listening to this as your first episode, you probably have a very bad first impression of us.
That's why it's called that. No, it's not. This has been Bad First Impression. You can find the show on all socials at BFI Pod. Please help the show by rating, reviewing, and following us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you are watching this episode on YouTube, it means it comes out the day before. So thank you so very much for being an early viewer. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the little bell at the top so you get notifications whenever we make new videos or posts. If you have questions, suggestions, or thoughts, please reach out to us on Instagram and our other socials, or email us at mailbag@bfipod.com. As always, I've been your host, Devin Warner. You can find me on social media at WhatIfDevin. And until next time, this is the only BFI Awards. There's no quotes or taglines for the Oscars. I can't throw any. It's
As always, congrats.
Until next time, it's Hollywood's hottest night.
I'll do what Olivia Colman did when she won Best Actress.
That's
welcome.
it. Bye, y'all.